Hi Aquarius, happy birthday and welcome to your February 2020 Astrology 33 reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, just check out the description of the video for all the information you need there. As far as what we have in front of us, we have a Celtic cross spread as always, and then we have some oracle cards we'll take a look at after we get through that, and also a mudra card. So getting started with your main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So it's definitely a pretty good card to have in any position, but especially in the main situation position. This card represents Jupiter, which technically is in your 12th house right now, so that's a bit of a more quiet placement. But either way, this is definitely a pretty positive energy to see in your spread. And this to me represents that, maybe things start to turn around for you guys and you get some forward momentum, which can happen to a certain extent anyway, as a lot of planets start to move through your sign, right? I think we already have, at the time of recording this, I think Venus is already there. Mercury will be moving through there as well. And obviously the sun. So you guys are going to have a new moon. So yeah, this could just be pointing to all the energy coming into your sign. But given that it's a major arcana card, I think it's bigger than just that. I think there's going to be some things that actually, might have felt stuck for you guys for a while. Now they actually start to gain some momentum. And maybe even having Jupiter in your 12th house, these might be ideas that come to you internally as far as how you can move things forward. So maybe you get a sudden insight, for example, on something you've been stuck as far as getting forward movement on it. And now you actually might get a sudden insight on how you can move forward in a positive way. In the Challenger Obstacle position, we have the Judgment card. So this is another indicator that something from your past is going to be coming back around. And, we are going to be in a Mercury retrograde cycle in February as well. And that's going to be taking place in your second house. So for some of you, this could be a financial opportunity that maybe, for whatever reason, it didn't get off the ground in the past. And now you actually have an opportunity to revisit that opportunity. But I do have to say, for some of you, I'm picking up that it could also be revolving around love as well, because at the bottom of the deck, we have the Strength card, and that's actually the major arcana card of Leo, which is your opposite sign. And actually, I see now below that, too, we have the King of Wands, which is another Leo energy. So to me, it definitely seems to be indicating that for a lot of you, this is going to be around a romantic relationship, but it can be partnerships of any kind. So yeah, I'm feeling like maybe in the past, something might have seemed a bit stuck. Now you're actually getting some forward movement. And, it can be from a situation from your past. Or this can just be saying that in order for you to move forward, you might have to revisit your past in some way, shape, or form. So if there's something that maybe you haven't gotten closure on, it might be saying that this might be the month to actually try to go out and get that in order to move forward. In the foundation position, we have the Two of Cups. So this is another indicator that this could definitely be pointing to a romantic relationship. And like I said, for a lot of you, I feel like this is an opportunity at the very least. And a person that you, have known from the past, but for whatever reason, you guys couldn't get things off the ground. Now it looks like you might have a bit more of a green light to do so. And again, like I said, this could also point to partnerships too, especially because for you guys, Cancer is your 6th house of work, daily routines. And this is a Cancer energy here. And we did just have a full moon eclipse in that sign as well. So that might have even been what caused this shift for some of you. Trying to see if anything else comes to mind with this. But yeah, either way, I would say that this definitely represents a meeting of the minds. So maybe if there was some kind of stuck energy, regardless of what type of dynamic was, relationship, finances, you name it. Looks like that stuck energy might tend to be freed up now. Now you guys are looking at things from the same perspective. In the past position, we have 5 of Wands. So this is actually a Leo energy, the first 10 degrees of Leo. So for some of you, this can't even be maybe something that might have gone off the rails during Leo season. And now, maybe when we get the new moon in your sign, you get to look at those things from a different perspective, and maybe that's where the forward momentum will come from. But for others of you, this can just be saying that you might have been in a highly competitive environment, or possibly had a conflict with someone in your past, possibly a group of people, and maybe if this is regarding a romantic relationship, maybe either you or they had a lot of romantic options. So maybe that's what this is pointing to as well. So there could have just been competition for that person. In the present position, we have Queen of Wands. So for some of you, this can be another indicator that maybe the person you're dealing with could be a fire sign. But this could also just be pointing to your energy, and maybe this is energy you'll be taking on, maybe with, again, the transits moving through your sign, that might put a little bit of more fire under you in a certain regard. But given that Aries also represents the third house of communication for you guys, this can just be saying that maybe this is you feeling the need or the urge to move forward to communicate to someone. And what it could even be is, for a lot of Aquarius suns, for example, you'll have at least a decent amount of you will have your Mercury in Pisces, and that's where the Mercury retrograde is going to take place. So that might be what causes some of you to review things as far as communication and maybe try to make a different approach this time. In the near future position, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So this is actually a Capricorn energy, and this can just be saying a few different things. For one, like I said, for some of you, this is going to be around finances, where maybe you get a second opportunity. For example, maybe a job offer, right? Maybe they gave the job to someone else, it doesn't pan out, and now you get a second opportunity at the job. But given that this is 12th house, like I was saying as well, with Jupiter being there, and obviously there's you have the Saturn-Pluto conjunction going on right now in the 12th house, but this can just be pointing to, again, maybe you guys get some kind of a sudden insight as far as maybe an idea or a relationship that you had to scrap in the past. Maybe now with that Jupiter energy moving through your 12th house, you might get a sudden insight on, oh, okay, this is actually a way I can move forward with the situation. And this also represents stability too. So this could just be saying, again, maybe with whatever this is, right? If you secure a good job, you'd have the stability there. Or if this is around a romantic relationship too, same thing, right? You could feel that stability from the relationship. Now, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Page of Cups. So this at least leads me to believe that for most of you, it would actually be you that's going to be making the offer. Now, with the Page of Cups, I always say it's that one foot in, one foot out energy. They usually even have a stance that supports that. But also, it's usually just feeling a bit inexperienced. So usually there's sincerity with the Page of Cups, especially, or any page, rather, when they're in the upright. But it's just a matter of the person might not feel fully comfortable in that element. And if you think about it, you guys as air signs, right, making a romantic offer to someone, you might feel like a fish out of water, quite literally, like we see with the fish there in the cup. If it'll focus, there we go. So that might be you. It might be a bit of a departure for you guys, where maybe normally you don't make an advance towards someone, but for whatever reason you feel energized and ready to do that this month. In the position of the environment, we have the Eight of Swords. So this is a Gemini energy, which for you guys is your 5th house, which could also point to romance. But this can just be, again, maybe this is pointing to the Mercury retrograde energy, since Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. And it could just be saying that it might feel like the communication's a bit stuck. So this can, for some of you, represent your energy, where, on the one hand, you do feel energized and ready to make the offer, but on the other hand, and most likely due to that retrograde, you might feel like you're not quite ready to make the move yet. For others of you, this can represent the other person. Maybe they're caught off guard by you making the offer to them. If that's the case, I would say just don't freak out. Give it a little bit of time for them to respond. Maybe it's just, like I said, especially if that's not normally your thing, right? Like we see there with the Page of Cups. It might just catch them off guard. It might not be that they're not interested, but, they might be like, whoa, I didn't see that coming, right? So given that we do see some pretty positive energies here, especially the Two of Cups at the foundation position, I don't think it'll be a rejection for most of you. It's just that, it might take a little time to hear back from them. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Five of Swords. So I'm going to guess this is probably a fear for most of you, and this is actually a Aquarius energy, the first 10 degrees of Aquarius. So I would say for those of you who are watching this when I first post it, just keep an eye out for the new moon in your sign towards the end of January, just because during that new moon, it's going to be square Uranus, which is your ruler, and that's in Taurus. So that might bring out some argumentative energies. So keep an eye out for that. But this could just be saying, especially for those of you where maybe if there was some conflict between you and this person, and maybe that was what, made things fall apart in the past. This could just be saying that you're, fearing that this would take place again. You might feel like, all right, well, let's say, for example, if you were the one who might have started the conflict in the past, you might be fearful that, oh, what if I approach them and now they try to get back at me and they come at me, right? So I will say, just always keep in mind, I always point out that with the hopes and fears position, it's just mainly what's on your mind. It's not necessarily an indicator that that's what's going to play out. So, like I said, if anything, just try to avoid that new moon in your sign if you can. As far as timing goes, anyway, try not to make the offer during that time. And in the outcome position, we have the Hermit, the Emperor, and Temperance. So this is an interesting combination of cards, but can't overlook the fact that you have 3 major arcana cards in the outcome position. So there's a lot of significance there. But the first thing that comes to mind with this combination for me is this could just be saying you might be really evaluating how you communicate, right? And like I said, for those of you who do have your Mercury in Pisces, that might resonate a little bit more. But this could just be saying that maybe you're really looking over the way you communicate. Sometimes you guys can be misunderstood when it comes to communication because your communication house, which is the 3rd house, is ruled by Mars. So sometimes you guys can seem combative, right, or rebellious with communication, but it's really just that placement that can cause that confusion. And so this could be you looking at the way you communicate, just evaluating it, and then trying to come at it in a more measured, balanced way. So like I said, for those of you where if you guys have had arguments in the past, and maybe that's what's kept things from getting off the ground, you could be looking at, ways, well, okay, well, maybe I was communicating in a certain way that might have rubbed them the wrong way, right? So how can I approach it this time so that it doesn't happen again? You know what I mean? Just going inward a bit and reflecting. Now this is a Virgo energy, so for you guys that's 8th house too, so I could just be saying that you're transforming. Maybe in the past you might have come off a bit controlling or possibly just even very guarded, right? Because we do see he has the armor on. And now this is you realizing that, you might want to take a more open approach, right? Because obviously this energy looks a lot more open than the Emperor energy. So could be what's going on there too. I'm trying to see if anything else comes to mind. And for some of you, this can be a friend of yours too, because this is Sagittarius energy, and that represents your 11th house of friends. So, it could just be someone you've been friends with, and you're trying to take things to the next level with them. All right, moving on to your oracle cards. First, we have Unfinished Symphony. There's the artwork, and the number is 10. So coincides with the 10 and the Wheel of Fortune there. Let's see what it says. Okay, it says unfinished business, an incomplete lesson, lack of closure, the need to make amends. So at least to an extent we did talk about that, right? With the Judgment card, I was saying for some of you, this is an old offer coming back around or an old connection coming back around. Or for others of you, this can just be saying that the Wheel of Fortune is saying that in order for you to move forward, you're going to have to revisit something. So rather than something coming to you, you might actually be forced to look at the past in order to move forward. All right, the Oracle's message says this is a time to tie up loose ends as you near the completion of a cycle or project and mastery of a lesson or skill. Before you can move forward, it's important that you come to terms with where you are now. Practice radical acceptance. Take inventory so that emotional and psychological closure can occur and the answers you seek will be found. You can't move forward if you are leaving things unfinished. Reflect on what has passed so that the symphony can finally end on a high note. So I will say, at least timing wise, this is good timing as far as you can have a lot of energy moving through your sign. So that'll be helpful there. And as far as retrogrades go, they're generally not a good time to start something new, but if this is something coming back around from the past, it would give you the opportunity to look at, where things might have gone wrong and actually avoid them this time around. We could see that potentially with the outcome energy we talked about too. The relationship message says moving on is difficult when love lingers, things are left unsaid, and you haven't had the opportunity for closure in your relationship and in your heart. You can still feel bound up in relationships when closure is denied you. It's important to achieve this for yourself. Write that letter, make that call, or have that conversation over a cup of coffee. For peace of mind, accept matters as they are, make amends if need be, and declare your feelings, even if only to yourself. Be clear about what was left unresolved, and close the door on the past so you can set yourself free. Only then can new love blossom. So that's an interesting take too, especially for those of you where, like I said, if this isn't just an offer from the past coming back around, it's more you being nudged to look at your past in order to move forward. That could be saying that once that happens, you'll get that Wheel of Fortune, and then this Two of Cups energy in that regard could be pointing to new love once you finally do that work. So it could be either of those two. All right, the prosperity message says make sure you complete projects now before starting new ones. Perhaps you have created something special that will increase your sense of abundance and bring you opportunities for wealth. However, if you don't see it through, it won't add up to anything but more clutter. Now is the time to put your nose to the grindstone and complete the tasks that have accumulated. Pay your bills, sign the documents, do your filing, hand in an assignment, complete a work of art. Tie up loose ends so you can move forward with surety, knowing you're on the prosperous path and feeling refreshed and excited about the future. So, pretty positive message there. Like I said, with the retrograde, even outside of relationships, like we were saying, it's not necessarily a good time to start something totally new, but it can be a good time to wrap things up that were left uncompleted from the past. All right, moving on to the next Oracle deck. Yeah, guys, actually got two cards that came up from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. First one you got is Chameleon Spirit. It says act as if. Here's the artwork, and the number is 14. And then actually we have the 14 here too with the Temperance card. So let's see if there's any tie-in with that. Okay, it says Chameleon Spirit shares her gift with you today to prepare you for changes that will greatly benefit you. Outer conditions are changing, and you're required to come into harmony with them so you can co-create your greatest dream. Feeling sensitive? Good, because that will come in handy, enabling you to determine how best to adapt to your environment and the people in it, while at the same time maintaining your integrity and inner equilibrium. Even if you feel like you're in uncharted territory, Chameleon Spirit has complete faith in your ability to fit in and learn the lay of the land, adapting as necessary. This is a fortunate time to act as if and do as others do until the new way feels familiar and completely natural. Life is offering you a great lesson now. Adapting isn't about losing yourself, it's about learning how to dance with others. So that's interesting there. As I was reading that message and it was talking about, trying to fit in, right? Feeling, learning the lay of the land and everything. So that made me think of the Page of Cups energy that we see here. Like I said, for some of you might feel like a fish out of water. I was saying quite literally with the artwork, but maybe this is just you're in a new environment in general. Maybe you guys have already started a new job recently, for example. Given that the Wheel of Fortune is a Jupiter energy and the natural rulership house of that is Sagittarius, which is your 11th house of groups. So that could be what that's pointing to there. And then we also have Brown Bear Spirit. It says take time out. There's the artwork, and the number on this one is 9. And we have the Hermit there, which is also the 9. So we'll see what that has to say. Okay, it says there is a time to act and a time to focus your attention on patient strategizing. The arrival of Brown Bear Spirit signals that you are best served by foregoing hard work toward your goals at this moment and instead taking the time out to meditate or just take a nap so you can refresh yourself and begin planning what you want to co-create next. Come to know the lay of the land as you contemplate and imagine what you might do in this vast space of possibility before you, and begin forming a plan. Remember, sleep allows for dreaming and rest allows for clear-headed strategizing. How might you become the person you wish to be and experience whatever your heart desires? Insights will arise as you explore the possibilities and begin envisioning your plan. Knowing what you want will ensure you use your energy wisely in the days ahead. Be patient at this time. Relax and be calm and peaceful so you can recharge. The call for action will come later. So it's interesting because I was mentioning earlier too where you guys might get some sudden insight with that Jupiter energy in your 12th house. And this was talking about, trusting that energy as well. And for me, I would say this is probably more for, especially for those of you who do watch the video when I first post it, because technically you're not going to have all the energy in Aquarius just yet, especially not the sun, right? So as the sun moves through your 12th house, which is still doing now, you actually might want to just take that time to think and plan, and then, like it says, take action later, which would be more when the sun is actually in your sign. All right. So the last thing we have is a mudra card. And the mudra you guys got for this month is the Hamsi mudra. There it is there. The keyword for it is illumination. So on the surface, sounds like it would be beneficial for the theme we were talking about. All right. So if you guys want, you could either pause it or take a screenshot if you want to read what it has to say. But it says, removes obstacles in one's life, eases depression and sadness, evokes feelings of lightness and laughter, benefits the lungs and large intestine, improves assimilation of nutrients, and elimination of waste. So that sounds like something that would be helpful for you guys, especially there is some heavy energy in your 12th house. So for some of you, depression definitely is a possibility. But yeah, if this sounds like something you think would be beneficial for you, I will put the name of the mudra in the description of the video so you can look into it a little bit more. Once again, happy birthday, guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.